Hey, what's up? Welcome to DGenEd. That's degenerative education, meaning none of this is financial advice. Just me having fun looking at charts. And so here, I just kind of wanted to take you through a little idea that I've had for some time now, but didn't seem like the appropriate time to make the video on it. But I think today might be the day. And so I am recording this on Friday, April 4th, after the market has closed. And, I wanted to talk to you guys about some of our favorite stocks, one of them being GameStop, another being AMC. And then I also just wanted to more broadly talk about the stock market. So here looking at the SPY or the SPY, this is the S&P 500 tracking ETF, which on the day today, as I'm sure you guys know, it's down more than 5%. It looks like it closed down 5.85% on the day, closing at $505.28. Continuing down a couple dollars more, $1.60 or so in the after hours. And so, this is pretty big. And if we do look back, just excuse the drawings for 1 second. If we do look back from the close on Wednesday on April 2nd, the SPY closed at a price of $564.52. And from there, we came down about 10.5% just over the course of the past 2 trading days, considering these gaps down. It's just a massive sell-off. Seems like, we've entered into a bear market. Maybe there are some signs we could be bottoming. I'm not really sure, but I didn't really want to get into that. What I wanted to talk about is, as the market sold off over 5% today, just about 5% yesterday, it came down 4.93% on Thursday the 3rd. What's kind of miraculous is GameStop was actually up today, went up by 11.33%, closing at a price of $23.49 for the week, being up $2.39 on the day. And so, that comes, following the news about, GameStop having, a bunch of cash and then also raising some capital for buying Bitcoin. And that, I believe, was on the 26th or on the 25th. That's when they had their earnings. And we kind of have this blow off top here, the spinning top doji here. Big wick to the upside, hitting a high of 29.80 before pulling back and consolidating. But following that consolidation, with the market selling off massively, GameStop's up over 10% on the day. So I find that to be pretty remarkable. And also, related to GameStop is going to be Bitcoin. I got some doodles on here, and I have to say that I do go over the chart every morning for pre-market prep. So if you're curious, any of the tickers on the left there, I do tend to cover them on the daily basis. Bitcoin, we have been following this downtrending red line here. Almost got a breakout, but have been coming down still. And, so that's a little bit disappointing. It's a little bit discouraging. But over the course of the day, Bitcoin has been more or less flat, a little bit green. And, that is, relative to the stock market, that's pretty impressive. So, I just think that there are a number of great things related to GameStop versus the broader stock market, the S&P 500. And, really that's like, I would say, showing some bullish divergence when there's weakness in one area, strength somewhere else, whether that's a Bitcoin stock like GameStop, I think that that's a really good sign. And so I'm kind of wondering if this might continue to the upside. It does look like it's pulling back a little bit in the after hours, but generally, such a strong day with GameStop. And then I also wanted to talk about AMC. I definitely think fundamentally they are very different stocks, very different companies. But I put out kind of a long video yesterday because it was voted that I do cover AMC yesterday. And in that video, as a result of that video, I had noticed that every single day following March 24th, you can see the green candle here, following the 24th, we've been putting in consecutively lower closes. Even on this green day, we just opened down here, but we closed here, which is below the previous day's close. And so we've just been continuing to stair step down. However, yesterday on April 3rd, we closed at a price of $2.64. So do you notice anything different about today's close? This is the first day that we have had a higher close than the previous day, going back to March 24th, when we closed at $3.08 after closing at $3.04 on March 21st. So I think that's a pretty good sign. It does give me some confidence. Also, so we've broken that trend, coming down. Also, we're green on the day, not by a lot, but, the stock price went up 1 penny, 0.38%. Whereas, the S&P 500 came down over 5%. So I think that's a really good sign. I think that's showing some relative strength. Also, we put in this massive wick to the downside, a bottoming tail. So I think that's pretty significant. We hit a low on the day of $2.45. We did see an increase in volume, which might seem like not such a great thing because the stock price did come down to $2.45, but the volume for the day increased and we actually closed a penny higher. So that suggests that there is some strength down here. Also, I talked about this in yesterday's video. The RSI came up a little bit. So yesterday it was at 2657. Today, 2750, which may not seem like a lot, but if we look back over here to January 14th, we have a lower value in the RSI at 2137. And so we've put in what could be a higher low. Maybe we do break down lower next week. I have no idea. But just looking at the chart right now, we have put in higher lows in the RSI. And we've actually done that, on multiple occasions, putting in higher lows again relative to this one, higher lows again. And also this one was relative to the low over here. A lot of higher lows. And with all of these higher lows, I'm saying that a lot, we actually have lower lows in the stock price, which may not seem that great, but that's bullish divergence. And, what I've noticed really just recently in an Oklo video, in case you guys haven't seen it or you missed my AMC video from yesterday, just because you see bullish divergence once, or in Oklo's case, bearish divergence once, it doesn't mean that you're at a long-term bottom or a long-term top in Oklo's case. And so seeing multiple bullish divergences down here and, coming back to very, very close to the all-time lows, which is also the 52-week low. Within the past year, we hit a low of $2.38. We're getting really flipping close to that level, but we're not quite there. And so, I really like the psychological game and stocks. I think it's really interesting. And so maybe, I'm retail and I see 238. I'm going to wait to buy at the bottom. I'm going to wait for a double bottom to form. And even, oh my gosh, even taking a step back, it's so good to take a step back and look at your charts. What do we see here? What do we see over here when we hit no, because this is a lower low. So always good to not get ahead of yourself like I almost did. I was thinking we have higher lows in the RSI. We also have higher lows in the stock price. So that's not bullish divergence. But maybe people are waiting to see that. Maybe retail is waiting for a retest of 238 or to get to $2 a share before loading the boat. But maybe what we're seeing here is a break in trend, a close higher than the previous day's close, with a massive wick to the downside and a close in the upper quarter of the trading for the day. That looks like a topping signal, that looks like a bottoming signal, a bottoming tail. With the increased volume, that does make me think that buyers are stepping in to push this up. And if I just flip over to the 10-minute time frame, we can look at this on the daily. We can see that as price came down here, there was a little bit of selling, but towards the end of the day, that's when we saw the most amount of volume coming in. And that's pushing it higher. It suggests to me, maybe I have a little bit of bias, but that suggests to me that buyers are stepping in at the bottom here, that this is potentially a bottoming signal. And so one thing that I did want to talk about, I think more so related to GameStop, is that if I do look over at the unusual whales data, so this is a contract that I happen to hold. I'm probably going to lose money on it, so I don't recommend it at all. But if I do look at the premium over here for the day for April 4th, we can see that call premium in green, net call premium was going up, ended the day at $4.1 million going into calls, net call premium increasing by $4.1 million, whereas net put premium came down 2.02 million. That is the red line coming down here, with volume being positive, suggesting buying, which suggests to me that people are selling their puts, that could be a bottoming signal, but also that people are buying calls, which could be a bottoming and a takeoff signal. So that seems really good. But if we do look at this on the 30-day time scale, we can see that net call premium has been higher, going up to as high as about 13.42 million increase on March 26th. So, but that was also kind of, when the stock price in yellow was coming down. So that was, buying a top, going long on a top there. And so this actually looks like, I would say, healthier buying than over here, net call premium increasing there. So I think that looks really good. If we do look at AMC, this one also looks good, but it's just not as spectacular, because what we see is an increase in net call premium of about $413,000. So not getting into the millions. We also see a decrease in net put premium coming down by about $80,000. Volume in green increasing as stock price did go up. So that does suggest, the net buying of calls and the net selling of puts. So both of those are bullish. And so, if the stock market is down 10% over the course of a couple days, and if we look at it from the highs, let's just see, excuse the drawings again, that's come down 17%. 20% would be the definition of a bear market. So if we're entering a bear market and GameStop is starting to rally 10%, maybe Monday we see a gap up. Who knows? Maybe the moves continue. Maybe we get back to 29.80 and back into the 30s. I have no idea. Maybe AMC has finally put in a clear bottoming signal, bottoming tail, break of trend with the higher close, and bullish divergence stacked up upon lower lows in the stock price and higher lows in the RSI in this time frame. So, let's say AMC starts to take off. Maybe we see some closes above 3 for AMC. And if we look at, let's see, the max pains for AMC, you can see it up here, AMC Entertainment. I'm just going to refresh it so we've got the fresh data. Next Friday, on the 11th, max pain was actually $3 yesterday, but it came down to $2.50 today. And then we've got it at $3 for the coming weeks. So, let's say this 250, let's say we close well above that and maybe start to trigger gamma squeeze or gamma ramp, then closing up the following week above 3, this could really get to taking off. And so if the stock market's down in bear market territory, down 20% from the highs, who's going to get blamed? Retail's going to get blamed. That seems like a very clear narrative for the mainstream media to spin, to make us the bad guys. I don't know. That fits. I think that fits. I feel like that's actually happened before. So, yeah, I feel really good about GameStop here with the over 11% move on a day that the stock market, the S&P 500, came down by more than 5%. And while not as impressive as GameStop, AMC was green, was positive, very so slightly, ever so slightly. But relative to the stock market, that's showing a lot of strength across the board. And I might actually do something that I don't typically do. Let's see, where are heat maps? I'm pretty sure there's a heat map over here somewhere that I don't normally look at. And so I think, let's see, heat map. I need to get better at exploring unusual whales. Let's see. Yeah, heat map. Dang it. Sector flow. No, not the sector flow. That's not what I want. Extras, heat map. I don't know, but let's just look at the stock market heat map today. Okay, so from TradingView, this is what we're looking at. AMC and GameStop are both green on this day. I think that says a lot. And let's even get Ed out of the way so we can see this. Let's maximize. Oops, I want to maximize this. I want to maximize the view. And, I'll even get myself out of the way. This is what we're dealing with here in the stock market. Everything is red except for our two favorite stocks. So I just think that's exceptional. I think that's a great way for us to start the weekend. And I just wanted to share that with you guys. I think that we will be blamed for it if these two stocks or other stocks, favorite stonks of ours, if they rally, if Bitcoin rallies. And Bitcoin's not, it's not new to Bitcoiners to be getting blamed for things or to be talked poorly about. And so, yeah, I think that we might be there. I think that this looks like a pretty clear bottoming signal to me. But I could, of course, be wrong. But, I feel really good about this, and I just wanted to share. But, as always, those are just my thoughts. If you found them helpful, make sure you like the video, share your thoughts in the comments down below, and make sure you subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great weekend, you guys. Celebrate. Cheers.